Hi, my name is Kirkpatrick. I'm head of hotels and extended stay at Gerald. We're one of Europe's largest hotel real estate advisors, and we're also now part of the Newmark Group and Cantor Fitzgerald Group. So I come from a valuation advisory side. So from my side, it is any business that's actually the inherent value is based on profit and revenue, if that makes sense. So that's how we define it as an operational business, and the value is driven by profit rather than by the pounds per square foot. It's finally speeding up at last. For years, the sector's been very underrepresented. A lot of the pension funds investors didn't like investing into the sector because it's too specialist. We're now seeing a complete change on that. So over the last 5-10 years, we've now seen the bringing together of different teams like hotels, leisure, care homes, residential care and so on, all come together now under the Opry banner, which has now created a much more understanding point for investors. So it's been a good start, but we've got a long way to go. Risk. Everybody's scared about risk because they can understand an office building, they can understand retail, but if you look at our growth, it's significantly more than those sectors put together, but there's still that element of risk because of the specialism. So you do need to get specialist advice, but if you get the right specialist advice, the returns are incredibly healthy, and a lot of the Opry sectors are sectors that are growing. So if you look at hotels, people want to travel more. If you look at retirement health, people are living longer and so on, whereas if you look at other sectors like high street retail, they're declining. It's not cyclical. The industry has changed. If you look at what's happened if you put it back to stage, if you are, let's say, a pension fund or investor, historically you'd invested in offices and shops and industrial. Obviously, industrial with the internet and moving on and people buying online has done incredibly well, but other sectors have not done so well, and especially with office buildings post-COVID. So we're seeing a lot of office buildings being converted, which can't be greened up, as we call it, into hotels and service departments. So we are seeing that change. That's not cyclical at all. It will happen and it'll grow more rather than decline. It's a good question, actually. So when I started my career, we do a lot of work with London estates. So I started off doing rent reviews and so on. So the old landlord and tenant relationship was pretty terrible. Landlord was quite dominant. He looked like to think he was better than the tenant and so on. That has changed quite a lot. There is much more JVs going on, much more sharing of information. I think now landlords have realised that they cannot do or cannot get the investment out of these properties if they don't actually help the tenants to get to where they need to get to. So we are seeing so much more improvements. There's still quite a bit to go yet, and we are now seeing some pension funds. So if you look at L&G, they've taken on their own hotel and under a management agreement, so they're actually operating their own hotel themselves rather than becoming a landlord and tenant situation. So our session was on building beds, and we had a panel, quite a diverse panel from all different sectors. So we asked them all to vote on what they thought was the best sector to invest into, and unfortunately hotels and extended stay was not voted on, so I'm very disappointed in that. But otherwise, it was a fantastic panel actually, because we looked at retirement living and actually the returns that are coming through on that, which are amazing. So it was very informative and quite challenging. I was saying that hotels, everybody should invest in hotels, but the panel was very clearly on retirement living, and I think we understand why, because obviously people are living longer, there's a shortage of product in the UK, and actually the investment returns are coming through, so I think that's probably the biggest one. But otherwise, it is where do you put your money, and also the planning issues as well. Everybody in the panel had the same problems with very problematic local planning authorities not being consistent and not helping us grow. It's paramount. We need to get together with other sectors to actually understand where the markets are going. We can learn from each other as well. So it's been a great festival and one that I highly recommend.